time it comes to me, no taxpayer money will get used, Governor Johnson, not a cent. Here's how it's going to work. Sure enough, not 1 cent of taxpayer dollars was going to get used on this. I felt so good about that. Wow. Sign the bill. Guess what? I leave office. I leave office, and now it is a burgeoning bureaucracy in the state of New Mexico, just like so many other things that I sign. So I feel like I did grow up and I understood that. I said all these things. You know, I had to be a popular guy, right? And I also understood just how popular I was. I was riding, this is when I was governor, I was riding through the Jemez Mountains on my motorcycle. I had all the body armor on, my helmet, you know, pretty tough, I think. I got off the bike, went into a burger bar, and you know, ordered a hamburger, and the waitress goes, "Man, I've had a lot of people tell you look like Gary Johnson." I said, "Yeah, they do." She goes, "That has just got to piss you off." So I feel like I have a good sense too of really where I do stand. I really feel that. I think I would be the next president of the United States if people would have just been able to hear what I had to say. And I base that on the website isidewith.com. How many of you got on the website isidewith.com during the last election? 3.5 million people got online. 3.5 million people got online, isidewith.com, answered 36 questions, and at the end of the 36 questions got paired up with the presidential candidate most in line with their views. I was the next president of the United States based on isidewith.com, 3.5 million people. Another thing that I was really proud of was the ACLU came out with a report card on all of the presidential candidates. Whether you agree with the ACLU or not, this is a group that is dedicated to civil liberties, dedicated to the Constitution. 26 liberty torches. This was ACLU, came out with a report card, all the presidential candidates. Let's see, Mitt Romney, 26 liberty torches was a perfect score, 26. Mitt Romney, Newt Gingrich, and Rick Santorum had 1 liberty torch between the 3 of them. In third place was Barack Obama with 16 liberty torches out of 26. In second place was Ron Paul with 18 liberty torches out of 26. And in first place was me with 21 liberty torches out of 26. Something that I'm very proud of. So what are the issues? I mean, what are the issues, and how do what I think most Americans line up? And I'd like to tell you my position on these issues. I think that we need to balance the federal budget. I think that's the biggest threat facing our country today, and that we need to balance the federal budget. I also think we need to eliminate the income tax, the corporate tax, abolish the IRS, and replace all that with one federal consumption tax. And I think that the fair tax is a great starting point for debate over how you implement one single consumption tax. And imagine for a second, no corporate tax, no IRS, no income tax. Why on earth would any company locate their jobs anywhere but the United States given a zero corporate tax rate environment? We're talking about tens of millions of jobs that would exist in this country virtually overnight. And the Federal Reserve, what an inside game that is. I would, if President of the United States, I would abolish the Federal Reserve if given the power, or if given the opportunity, which would be legislation, to sign off on abolishing the Federal Reserve. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. So when it comes to the Federal Reserve, let's just return the Federal Reserve to its original mandate, which was inflation, and not its dual mandate of inflation and full employment. And that's just, those are contrary goals. And of course, to balance the federal budget, that means taking on some gigantic issues like Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security. They need to be reformed. When it comes to Medicaid and Medicare, I think Medicaid and Medicare needs to be block grants from the federal government to the states with new lines drawn for eligibility. I happen to be in the camp that believes that there are those that are truly in need, and but for government they don't receive the services that they need. But we've drawn those lines so far over the line that if we don't fix what we have right now, I believe we will suffer a monetary collapse. And Social Security. Social Security is so fixable, under the fair tax or under a consumption tax, under the fair tax, Social Security would not come out of your payroll check anymore. That would come out of the proceeds of the fair tax. But raising the retirement age, you could have a really fair means testing. You could have an opt-in, opt-out, certain percentage or all of it that you could invest yourself. I mean, there's some really simple fixes, I think, to Social Security to making it viable. We need to stop our military interventions, period. As a result of our military interventions, I think we have hundreds of millions of enemies to this country that but for our military interventions, we would otherwise not have those enemies. When we order drones to go and knock out the target, the drones don't just knock out the target. They knock out a quarter block. They kill hundreds, thousands of innocent civilians. And if anyone in this room were killed as a result of another country doing that to you or I, friends, family, co-workers, you would vow vengeance against that perpetrating country, up to and including giving your own life to seek that vengeance. And that's exactly what we've got going on today. Stop spying on us, the NSA. Repeal the Patriot Act. Where is the due process in this country? Uphold the Second Amendment. We do have the right to bear arms, and gee, why just the Second Amendment? How about uphold the Constitution of the United States? Legalize marijuana. 90% of the drug problem is prohibition-related, not use-related, and that is not to discount the problems with use and abuse, but the fact that we're still arresting 1.8 million people a year in this country on drug-related crime. Half of those arrests are marijuana still today, and 3/4 of all those arrests are for possession only. Stop prohibition, legalize marijuana. The country becomes a better place. And of course, Colorado's done it, so has Washington State, and this isn't going to last long. It's going to spread all across the country because Colorado is going to be a better place to live. And it's going to be very evident when police now are going out and enforcing real crime as opposed to non-violent, victimless crime. Education. As governor of New Mexico, nobody was more outspoken as governor of any state when it came to education and the need for school choice. Free markets. The notion of free markets when it comes to education. You know, right now the Khan Academy offers education K through 12 for free. K through a doctoral degree for free. It exists now, today. There's a model to deliver education for free. Why are we not having that debate? Healthcare. Free markets. How about a free market approach to healthcare? Let's throw out the insurance model. I can't believe we have insurance to cover ourselves for ongoing medical necessity. In a free market approach for healthcare, we would all have health insurance to cover ourselves for catastrophic injury and illness, and we would pay as you go in a system that was competitive. And that's exactly what we'd have. The government could embark on a program of blowing the lid off of supply. When this whole thing started, I had envisioned gallbladders are us. Clinics that would specialize in gallbladder surgery for thousands of dollars as opposed to tens of thousands of dollars. It would have happened. It still can happen. It's exciting, but of course we're anything but that. I do believe in marriage equality. I think that marriage equality is a constitutionally guaranteed right on par with civil rights of the 60s. Look, it's the minority, but we have a country that minorities are protected under the Constitution. Immigration. Let's start with the fact that immigration is a good thing. Let's not build a fence across the border. Well, that's the nuttiest thing I've ever heard in my entire life, and yet that's what everybody seems to be talking about. How tall are we going to build the fence? Come on! A 20-foot fence is a 24-foot ladder, and if they want to build